Over 1,000 people in Newcastle and North Tyneside are the subject of groundbreaking research. And Jeff Hudson is just one of them.
I like to keep fit, and that's why I go out dancing, 4 or 5 times a week.
Jeff was born in 1921. He's amongst what is now the fastest growing demographic worldwide, the 85+ bracket.
It's astonishing how little we know about them as a group of people.
Jeff is helping scientists in Newcastle to uncover the secrets of ageing.
The most amazing fact about life expectancy is that within the UK and all the other developed countries, life expectancy is increasing each day by 5 hours. And what that means is that the very old, people who are aged 85 and above, are growing in number and growing and growing.
Professor Tom Kirkwood is the director at Newcastle University's Institute for Ageing and Health, widely recognised as Europe's leading centre for research into ageing. The centre is carrying out the most ambitious study on the 85+ age group that has ever been undertaken.
We wanted to find everyone who was turning 85 in our city, so we got permission to approach everyone registered with the NHS in Newcastle and North Tyneside who was born in 1921. A total of over 1,000 people enrolled in the study, which is really a very demanding assessment of their health.
Karen Davies leads a team of nurses who are collecting huge amounts of data from people like Jeff who are taking part in the 85+ study.
What's special about this research study is that all of the nursing team actually go out and visit the participants in their own home, and that's actually where the data is gathered.
At home visits, Jeff is put through his paces by the nurses. He's taken through a variety of physical and cognitive tests and given questionnaires to assess his psychological well-being. But the visit doesn't just test Jeff. The nurses are under pressure as well.
One of the really important parts of the study is taking blood samples from the participants. There's a real tension there because we have to try and get the blood back to the lab within 1 hour of the blood draw, and that really is to ensure that they arrive at the lab in really good quality state and we get really excellent data from it.
We have an outstanding lab team that takes those samples and then runs a whole host of tests on them to see what they can measure that relates to the progress of the ageing process.
Jeff and the rest of the 85+ study participants will be tracked until the ends of their lives. Tom's team will search the data for any indicators that might enable them to make predictions about how a person will age. But precisely how we age still remains a mystery. Back in the lab, there's been a recent breakthrough.
In our recent discovery, well, we like to feel that we've really cracked a 50-year-old problem in the biology of ageing.
We've been trying to work on looking at the pathways that are involved in controlling how a cell goes into senescence.
Cells are dividing all through life to renew themselves. Eventually, however, many of them enter a state known as senescence, where they are no longer capable of dividing.
As time goes by, as we live our lives, the number of senescent cells within the body increases. In the skin, we accumulate senescent cells, and that leads to wrinkling. You don't die from wrinkles, but if you've got cells that are losing the capacity to divide and renew themselves, that contributes to processes like osteoporosis, perhaps to the failure of the immune system, perhaps to diabetes that becomes much commoner with old age.
But for several years, exactly how cells go into this senescent state was not fully understood. In order to find out, Dr. Glyn Nelson developed a stunning technique for detecting DNA damage in cells.
53BP1 is a protein that exists inside the nucleus of cells to mark the sites for DNA damage. We were able to attach this to a green fluorescent protein gene to create what's known as a gene fusion.
When this gene fusion is expressed in human lung cells, the protein produced fluoresces green and marks the location of 53BP1.
We can use this protein to look at the sites of DNA damage within the cell. We can see that we have bright green spots here as sites of DNA damage, and tracking this over time, we can see the DNA damage is repaired, and we can also then see when new sites of DNA damage appear inside the cell.
By looking at how the cells respond to DNA damage and piecing it together with other information, the team was able to unravel the complex mechanism which governs how cells become senescent.
This is really the aging process happening before our eyes.
What the team has revealed is just part of what is an extremely complex process. Learning how we might control aging to combat the diseases that are linked to it is still a long way off. But with this research and studies on people like Jeff, scientists in Newcastle are already making remarkable progress.
If I get to 100, I'll definitely have a big celebration. And in fact, I might hire this hall and have a real good dance.